Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Saturday, April 25th, 2015, around 7:09 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's been cloudy part of the day, going to get cool tonight. It's going to be about freezing. Some places have frost advisories. Some news to report. Brooklyn Nets beat Atlanta Hawks by a score of 91-83 today to cut the series deficit to 2-1. And in the NHL playoffs, the New York Islanders beat the Washington Capitals by a score of 2-1 today to force Game 7. The scoreboard at the Nassau County Coliseum accidentally released the next home game for the New York Islanders, Game 3 against the Rangers, to be announced. That could have been a mistake because Game 7, anything could happen in Game 7. This could be the final time this NHL hockey played at the Nassau County Coliseum as the New York Islanders are moving to Brooklyn next year. That's about it on the news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is my personality profile, the continuation of WWE managers who led their men to the WWE Championship. I'm now going to be talking about WWE Hall of Famer Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji was one of the most legendary heel tag team wrestlers of all time. Then when he retired, he became a manager. He was a manager for about 10 years. His famous client was leading Yokozuna to the WWE Championship in 1993. Mr. Fuji was billed from Japan, but actually his real name's Harry Fujiwara, and he was actually born in Honolulu, Hawaii. So he's a U.S. citizen. And Harry actually was trained to become a professional wrestler by former AWA World Champion Nick Bockwinkel. Harry Fujiwara made his wrestling debut in 1965 in Hawaii, and he wrestled in NWA Hawaii for a while, capturing some championships and stuff, and tag team championships with a number of different partners. By the late 60s, he and Professor Tanaka moved to the United States mainland, and they teamed in several regional territories and stuff, and they won tag team championships in several regional territories, including 3-time WWF Tag Team Championships, won in 1972 and 1973 time range with the Grand Wizard of Wrestling as a manager, and in 1977-78 with Classy Freddie Blassie as a manager. They were not managed by Captain Lou Albano, Fuji, or Professor Tanaka. Plus, they wrestled in several other regional territories, winning gold in Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida, New Zealand, Australia, and several other stops along the way. Mr. Fuji was a dastardly heel. He threw salt in his opponents when they weren't looking and stuff, blinding them and stuff like that. Late 70s, early 80s, Mr. Fuji briefly had a singles career, winning titles in several regional territories. He returned to the WWE in 1981 and he had a new tag team partner, Mr. Saito. They were managed by Captain Lou Albano, and Captain Lou Albano led them to 2 WWE Tag Team Championships and stuff. When Mr. Saito left the WWE in late 1982, Mr. Fuji teamed up with Tiger Chun-Li, who was a jobber, but they weren't successful in winning any tag team gold in the WWE. Eventually, Mr. Fuji turned on Tiger Chun-Li. They had a brief feud, and Fuji was getting up there, like 50 years old. He had bad knees and stuff, so he decided to retire as a wrestler, but he became a manager, and he dressed up like one of the James Bond villains, wearing a tuxedo and a hat. That Bond villain was Odd Job, and Mr. Fuji dressed like him with like the cane and stuff in the tuxedo. Mr. Fuji became a manager in 1984, and his first client was George the Animal Steel, but George the Animal Steel eventually turned face. Then he managed Moondog Spot, and they had skit on TNT Moondog Spot and Mr. Fuji coming to a tea party with the British Bulldogs and Lord Alfred Hayes and with China and like fine China, and Mr. Fuji was saying this is cheap China. They beat it, they hate Moondog Spot destroys it and stuff like that. And Lord Alfred Hayes was getting mad saying this was priceless. Mr. Fuji was known to play a lot of ribs in the backstage area of wrestling, so this was pretty funny for him. Then Mr. Fuji managed the magnificent Don Morocco for 2 years. Morocco had a mid-card push and stuff. Sometimes Mr. Fuji would get involved because he would use his cane and stuff, or hang people and stuff like that. They had some feuds with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and the Junkyard Dog. Well, Mr. Fuji once in a while put on the tights. And Mr. Fuji and the magnificent Morocco had several skits on TNT doing a lot of parodies, like Fuji Vice for Miami Vice, Fuji General for General Hospital, Fuji Bandino for Western movies, and they had some acting skits on Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, and this shows the comic side of the magnificent Morocco and Mr. Fuji, which was pretty funny. It was one of the highlights of TNT and stuff like that. Eventually, Mr. Fuji started to manage other wrestlers like Cowboy Bob Orton, Kamala, Sika, Killer Khan, and in mid-1987 he managed Demolition, Action Smash, and he took on the face paint of Demolition. He led Demolition to the WWE Tag Team Championship in March of 1988 at WrestleMania 4, and then he managed them into Survivor Series in 1988 when he did the infamous double turn on Demolition, because Demolition were getting face flops. He interfered in the Demolition's Survivor Series match, and then he turned on them. He went to the Powers of Pain, who were the Warlord and the Barbarian, and then he joined them. They did the double switch, and this wasn't a good double switch because the Warlord and the Barbarian were offered in the WWE as the Powers of Pain. Mr. Fuji donned the tights again, but he in at WrestleMania 5 against Demolition, a handicap tag team match. Demolition beats Mr. Fuji 1, 2, 3. And then for the next couple of years, Mr. Fuji was getting a little bit phased out in the WWE. He would still throw salt, interference, and stuff like that. But he managed the Orient Express and the Berserker, who was a Viking character who did Husk, and he reunited with Demolition and stuff. And he also managed the Super Black Ninja for 1 or 2 shows and stuff. That couple of times there were rumors that the WWE was going to cut Mr. Fuji from the talent roster as a manager and stuff, but that never came to be. In 1992, Mr. Fuji managed his most famous wrestler, the 505-pound Yokozuna sumo wrestler from the Polynesian Islands, representing Japan. He was famous for the Banzai drop. Banzai! Mr. Fuji changed from wearing tuxedos, and he wore a robe, and with flip-flops and stuff. And Yokozuna was getting a monster push for the WWE Championship. He won the 1993 Royal Rumble. Then he wrestled Bret the Hitman Hart at WrestleMania 9. Mr. Fuji throws salt in Bret the Hitman Hart's eyes. Yokozuna pins him 1, 2, 3. Yokozuna's the WWE champion, but Hulk Hogan comes down and protests, stuff like that. And Mr. Fuji says, "We issue a challenge to you, American. We'll put the WWE championship on the line. You little coward." Hogan gets into the ring. Mr. Fuji tries to throw salt at Hogan. Hogan ducks, hits Yokozuna by mistake. Then Hogan beats up Mr. Fuji, gets the leg drop on Yokozuna 1, 2, 3, and Hogan's the new champion. But it was only 2 months. Then Yokozuna regains the WWE Championship. Mr. Fuji's manager of Yokozuna, champion again, and then they challenge all Americans on the 4th of July for the Body Slam Challenge, which was won by Lex Luger at the U.S. Intrepid in New York City. And then they have the SummerSlam match, Yokozuna against Lex Luger for the WWE Championship. Mr. Fuji hires Jim Cornette as Yokozuna's American spokesperson, but it was a co-manager position. And this And also, they're kind of phasing Mr. Fuji out a little bit because his promos weren't as good because he kind of used a Japanese accent and stuff. Plus, Mr. Fuji was getting up there in age. I think they were starting to try to phase him out. And also, around this time, he managed Crush, who turned heel on Macho Man Randy Savage. Mr. Fuji was just waving the Japanese flag and stuff. For the remainder of the time in the WWE, he kind of interfered in Yokozuna matches here, there, and also Crush's matches, but they were phasing him out and stuff. Eventually, he just became kind of a flag bearer for Yokozuna and stuff. He briefly managed Owen Hart in the British Bulldog. And by 1996, Mr. Fuji and Yokozuna turned face, and one of the Mr. Fuji's last appearance on WWE TV was WrestleMania 12. He was waving the American flag. He's a U.S. citizen in real life. Mr. Fuji is, because he was born in Hawaii and stuff. He left the WWE in 1996. He moved to Tennessee. He ran his own wrestling school for a while, and he actually worked at a movie theater, whipping up tickets and stuff like that. And a lot of wrestlers heard about that, or WWE superstars. They told Vince McMahon, Mr. Fuji's kind of on hard times because he's working at a movie theater. And Vince McMahon was generous. He gave Mr. Fuji $10,000 for him, just to help him out and stuff like that. Don't know what Mr. Fuji's finances were because he was with the WWE for many years. He probably got a lot of decent money when he managed Yokozuna as WWE champion, because I think all WWE champions at that time were guaranteed $1 million when they won the belt. So Mr. Fuji might have got a big contract for that. Who knows? Mr. Fuji eventually ended his wrestling school in 2001 due to his decline in health. He had many knee surgeries and stuff. He still lives in Tennessee. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2007. Mr. Fuji is one of the famous tag team wrestlers of all time, a great heel. His managerial stint is, 50-50 at best. Kind of liked him with the Magnificent Morocco and the funny stuff with the skits with Fuji Vice, Fuji Bandito, Fuji General, because he was a ribber backstage and stuff like that. The other wrestlers he managed was not that good, except Demolition and Yokozuna. And Mr. Fuji's probably one of the maybe the best managers in WWE history, maybe the top 5% of managers of all time in WWE history. He never won a PWI Manager of the Year award. He finished, I think, second runner-up in 1993. The winner of that was Jim Cornette. That's about it on Mr. Fuji. And that's about it on these video blogs for tonight. Tomorrow, 3 more video blogs are coming. First video blog will be about the Boston Bruins versus Montreal Canadiens rivalry. Can't wait. Everybody's waiting to see that. The Bruins aren't in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Missed them a lot this time of year. Also, the second video blog of the day will be about LRTA bus number 5 that goes from Lowell Kennedy Center to the Drumhill Plaza via Westford Street. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about WWE manager, former WWE manager, James E. Cornette, and coming soon, lots of good stuff. Tuesday is going to be about, one of the video blogs is going to be about my memories of the Boys and Girls Club of Somerville, because I was a member of the Boys and Girls Club of Somerville, Massachusetts before Billerica. I'll give out some stories about them, some of the staff members like Jonathan and Lorne and Louie and George, who was nicknamed Boo. And next Tuesday, May 5th, will be the anticipated Boys and Girls Club of Greater Billerica Memories. A lot of memories, which probably be an over a 20-minute one. So I'll have to share the link on my YouTube page and stuff like that. Could tell you about Go Find Something to Do, Bob Redding, Melissa Hurley, Janelle Tobin, Betsy Quidor, Mike Goodwin, Janelle Moscone, Tracy Tunstall, Dal Fraze, Kathy Clack, and the Torch Club with Bobby, Dickie, Joe, Brandy, Ryan, Kana, and others. And coming soon will be legs and eggs. And in the words of Bruce Cronin, want to put a wager on that, Richie. Good night. See you tomorrow.